Paris, France, 1793. A starving crowd gathers outside a medieval fortress. The king still lives in unimaginable luxury. Bread has become too expensive for ordinary families. Children are starving. The government is drowning in debt. And the people have had enough. Within a few years, the most powerful monarchy in Europe will collapse. A king will lose his crown. A queen will lose her life. And an entire nation will descend into chaos. This is the story of the French Revolution, the uprising that changed the world forever. But this story isn't really about kings or queens. It's about ordinary people. People who were pushed so far, they decided they had nothing left to lose. Imagine waking up every morning not knowing if your family will eat. Imagine working from sunrise to sunset and still being unable to afford bread. Now imagine looking across the country and seeing nobles hosting lavish parties inside enormous palaces while your children go to sleep hungry. That was France, a kingdom divided into two worlds. One world belonged to the rich. The other belonged to everyone else. The wealthy paid little tax. The poor paid almost everything. Farmers worked the land. Workers built the cities. Yet the rewards went to people who had never touched a shovel or plowed a field. For millions of ordinary French citizens, life felt less like freedom and more like a prison. In Paris, bread wasn't just food. Bread was survival. A family could spend most of its income on bread alone. Then poor harvests devastated crops. Prices exploded. Soon, entire families were standing in lines before sunrise, hoping to buy a single loaf. Many returned home empty-handed. A mother stands outside a bakery. She clutches a few coins in her hand. Behind her, hundreds wait in line. By the time she reaches the front, the bread is gone. Her children will not eat tonight. Thousands of families are experiencing the same nightmare. Every day, every week, every month, the anger is becoming impossible to contain. While Paris suffers, the royal palace of Versailles shines brighter than ever. Inside its halls, nobles dance beneath crystal chandeliers. Musicians perform. Wine flows endlessly. A world untouched by hunger, untouched by poverty. To ordinary citizens, it feels like their rulers don't understand their suffering. They simply don't care. Rumors spread through the streets. Stories grow larger with every telling. Soon, one person becomes the symbol of everything the people hate. Queen Marie Antoinette. To many citizens, she represents excess, privilege, and indifference. Whether the stories are true no longer matters. The people need someone to blame, and they have found their target. July 14th, 1789. Morning. Crowds begin gathering. Hundreds become thousands. Thousands become tens of thousands. Word spreads through Paris like wildfire. The people are moving. Their destination? The Bastille, a towering fortress that symbolizes royal power. The crowd surges through the streets. Men carry muskets. Women carry knives. Others carry whatever they can find. Fear turns into courage. Then, the fighting begins. Gunfire echoes across the city. Smoke fills the air. Chaos erupts. Hours later, the fortress falls. The crowd has done the impossible. The people have challenged the king and won. At that moment, the old France begins to die. News travels across the kingdom. Villages rebel. Cities rebel. Farmers attack symbols of noble power. Ancient privileges disappear. The monarchy begins losing control. For the first time in generations, ordinary people feel powerful. The revolution promises freedom, equality, a better future. Hope fills the air. But revolutions are dangerous things. Once unleashed, they rarely follow the plan. At first, the revolution is driven by hope. Then, it becomes driven by fear. People begin accusing each other of betrayal. Friends become enemies. The revolution that promised justice begins demanding blood. The guillotine rises above Paris. Every day brings more executions. The crowd that once fought for freedom now gathers to watch deaths. Eventually, even the king cannot escape. King Louis XVI is arrested, put on trial, found guilty, and sentenced to death. The man who once ruled millions now stands alone. No palace, no guards, no crown, only a waiting crowd. The blade falls, and centuries of monarchy come to an end. The king is gone, but the chaos is only beginning. The French Revolution started because people were hungry, because they felt ignored, because they believed the system was unfair. What began as a demand for change became a force powerful enough to destroy an entire kingdom. It toppled a king, shattered a monarchy, and changed the course of history forever. But it also revealed something timeless, a lesson every ruler eventually learns. When ordinary people suffer long enough, when inequality grows too great, when hope disappears, even the strongest kingdom in the world can fall. And sometimes, all it takes is an angry crowd.